Hey guys, my name is Andy and I am here with representing Alumni Spotlight for Beginnings Treatment Centers, and today I am especially excited because we have two awesome guests on our show, and a lot like me, they were actually clients and they turned out to be employees, and that's actually a large number of the people that we have on the show, which is says a lot about what our program can do for people. So I would like to introduce you guys to Kat and Steven.
Hi.
Hello.
So first, Kat, I just wanted to ask you, and then Steven, you can go. What is your sobriety date and what is your drug of choice?
My sobriety date is October 23rd, 2017. I came in addicted to alcohol, but I've battled with heroin, cocaine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I saw you actually whenever you first came in. I think I was support staff at that time, and you've grown so much. So it's so awesome to see. And I know people said the same thing about me too, but now you working here and helping other people is great, you know?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I came in, I was in detox, and I was like, I'm gonna work here.
I know. Yeah, a lot of people say that. It's not everyone does though. So the fact that you stuck it out is like,
I mean, I came in with the plan that I wasn't going back home, which, because every time I do, it turns bad. So I came here determined to build a life here.
right.
And
From Detroit, correct?
Yep.
And so Steven and Kat actually know each other from Detroit,
yeah.
and then that's
Actually, no. We know each other from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Okay.
Yeah. About 15 years we've known each other now.
Wow, crazy. So Steven, what is your drug of choice and your sobriety date?
I am a true alcoholic. My sobriety date is February 11th, 2018. As I said, I'm a true alcoholic, although drugs are a major part of my story. It was alcohol that I had the hardest time, the most difficult time with.
Okay. And so Steven, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were in our program for about 9 months.
Almost 10 months, yes.
Almost 10 months. And then you actually just recently got employed with us, is that right?
About 2 weeks ago, yes.
2 weeks ago. That's awesome. Congrats. What are you going to be doing? Support staff?
I'm support staff. I work in our detox facility, so I am right there on the front lines with the person that might only have about 20 minutes of sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually, I find it very beneficial for myself to see the incomprehensible demoralization and the desperation in our new clients. It helps remind me of where I was when I got here in February.
Awesome. Yeah, you have changed a lot too. And I know that us just all working in the field of addiction, I mean, you get to see those people coming in after 20 minutes of sobriety and then thinking, it's a good reminder, like you said, of where we came from. So I think you're definitely, if you were put in the detox, you're definitely supposed to be on those front lines, which can be taxing but still rewarding at the same time, which is cool.
Yes, it is very rewarding. As you said, I was a client for so long, and I did watch quite a few people come through, and I was able to watch the changes. People grow up, mature, become responsible and accountable for their actions.
Right. So you guys know each other. I thought that it was Detroit, but it's not. So you're from Detroit.
I'm from both.
You're both. Oh.
My father was in Michigan, my mom was in Pennsylvania, so I was back and forth, and that's when I was in Pennsylvania is when I met him.
And how did you guys meet?
I was a bartender.
I was a bartender. He was my bartender, I was his bartender.
So you guys had that love for alcohol,
Yeah.
and kind of that's what drew you together a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you stayed in touch over a number of years
Through Facebook.
through Facebook.
I mean, we really didn't see each other because I was moving back and forth from Michigan to Pennsylvania, and but yeah, on Facebook, and I share my life on Facebook,
Yeah.
and so I was always posting, and that's how he kind of kept up with me and what I was up to.
Nice, and you still do that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I like seeing it. It's
Yeah, I do.
awesome.
It's like my live journal.
Yeah, exactly.
Post everything on there. I don't care.
Nice. So, Kat, why don't you tell me, like, I know that Kat actually ended up bringing Steven out to our treatment center from, like, Kat came out here first, and then Steven ended up coming out after because he saw Kat here. So I'll let them get more into that, how that happened exactly. But I did want to ask you, tell me a little bit about like your alcoholism, and just prior to coming to treatment this time, what was it like? Maybe how you came to a decision to want to change, and if you've had sobriety time in the past or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost 44, and I didn't even attempt treatment or recovery until 2016. I had a boyfriend overdose and die from heroin, and I ended up going to jail, and I flew out to California, and I went to treatment. I ended up going home, relapsed, came back, went to treatment, had about 8 months, went home, relapsed, and that relapse was just awful. I mean, I was drinking mainly because I had been addicted to heroin in the past, but I quit with alcohol, and I replaced it with that. And then when on that relapse, I was doing everything, and I really didn't feel, I've been out here and I thought I tried, and I could never get sober, and I kind of was just giving up on myself in life. And then I had a friend, actually, Andrew, help me get out here. And I came out here, and even my kids told me to come out here and not go home. They were like, we'd rather visit you in California than visit your grave here.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
And how common is that for people to, same here, coming out to California from another state, relapsing, going back home, and then having that cycle repeat over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it is just a part of the recovery journey, though. I look back and I'm like, well, if that wouldn't have happened, I might not have been ready to really take it seriously.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm glad you made it through that.
Well, I had reservations every time. I thought that once I had some sober time, I'd be able to drink again and, control it. And I guess I just had to prove to myself that that's not possible.
Right.
Like, I know now, without a doubt, I can't have one drink because it just sets a, snowball of awfulness.
And so what was that moment in time that made you get to that place where you knew you couldn't have a drink again? Did you make a decision, or was it a clear moment in time, or was it just a process that happened by osmosis?
It was a process that happened. I started off just only drinking on Saturday, at my friend's house for a party. When people would come over, I'd drink that night, and then it started, I'd wake up Sunday morning and put bourbon in my coffee, and then it just became around the clock again, and it was like 8 months, that relapse, and I just got so bad that I felt there was no way out. Like, I ended up in the psych ward. I didn't know how, and then I didn't think I'd ever be able to come back out here because like insurance or getting into treatment, I didn't know if I was able. I just felt like that was going to be my life. I was going to drink myself to death.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in and out of the hospital and just sick, and then someone helped me and I came out here. And I knew if I got out here again that I was going to give it everything I had, and that I wasn't holding on to any reservations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sounds like the jumping off point where you can't live with or without it,
Mm-hmm.
the alcohol, and so you have kind of a choice. It's like, do I end it now, or do I try to have sobriety? And sometimes for us, that's what it takes, is like those two options before we'll make a decision. It's kind of crazy, but that's awesome. And Steve.
Yes.
So why don't you give us a little snapshot of kind of the same thing, what it was like prior to getting sober?
As I said, I'm definitely an alcoholic. It had been bad pretty much since I was about 13 or 14 years old. Drinking, smoking weed, breaking the law constantly. Dealing drugs, that was another big part of my life. And the only time that I was without any alcohol or drugs was when I was incarcerated. The longest incarceration I had was 5 years. The most recent was 2 years, and that was from 2011 to 2013. And I got out and went right back into it. Picked up right where I left off. It was at first it was fun, and it became functional. I had to have alcohol. I could no longer go more than 3 hours before shakes would set in. I started having hallucinations at about 6 or 8 hours without alcohol. It was bad. I knew I shouldn't drink. Then I had a defining moment in my life where I almost destroyed everything. I unfortunately was negligent and caused a kitchen fire that I put at risk my 2-year-old daughter and about 50 horses. I lived above a barn in an apartment. I took care of the horses and put a pan of oil on the stove. Unfortunately, it caught fire, and I woke up to it and tried to put it out, but that was not enough for me. Nobody got hurt other than me, by the way, guys out there. I got burnt by trying to put it out. That wasn't enough for me. I spent about a year on rock bottom, blaming the owners of the farm for not having proper fire extinguishers, basically not taking responsibility for my own actions. I pushed everybody away. I used and manipulated people. And I got to the point where I had manipulated the last person. I was by myself in a house in State College, Pennsylvania. Just me and my dog, and I hated myself so much that I could barely look in the mirror long enough to shave. I had unanswered prayers of my life ending. I was angry at the world because I kept waking up. And I had watched Kat over the years. I had watched her, as she said, get recovery, relapse, get recovery, relapse. And then I watched her get recovery, and it seemed to be sticking. I actually saw something that changed for her. And it was coming here to Beginnings Treatment SEC that I watched. And I reached out to her. I started off probably about a month and a half, 2 months before I actually came out here asking the questions. Well, I don't know if I can do that. I'm not sure I'll do this. I don't want to do AA. I don't want to. And finally, I got to the point where I had to say, you know what, whatever, because I'm either going to end up dying back in prison for life, or worse, making myself a vegetable. And I decided I wanted to live. So I surrendered, and I made one more call to Kat. She gave my phone number to another gentleman, and we started the process of me getting out here. Hopped on a plane about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, and was here and didn't look back. I originally started, I was probably only going to be here, I'm just going to be here 30, maybe 60, maybe 90. Ended up being, as I said, just short of 10 months as a client, and 2 weeks ago I started as an employee. My life is not perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was. I actually can look at myself in the mirror. I can smile and enjoy life as it is.
That's incredible. We both have a similar thing where it was like no looking back. And for you, it sounds like you had a little bit of reservations initially, or it was just hard to kind of get you to say yes in the beginning. But then
stubborn, so.
But then something happened. Something happened where you just said that, okay. And what was that? Was that just support?
Honestly, for me, I got to that point of, as I said the words before, incomprehensible demoralization, where I did not want to live. I did not want the life that I had. I wasn't sure what life I wanted. I I still don't know all the answers to what I want today, but I do know I don't want to die, to that disease. I don't want to be a slave to the bottle. I don't know. Slowly through time, and yes, working the 12 steps, I found some answers. I found a calmness, a peace. My head stopped buzzing all the time. It stopped screaming. It stopped, yelling at me. And I learned to be able to relax a little more.
Right. I know the feeling of not being able to look yourself in the mirror, and sometimes those times can be the worst, but then they can be the biggest blessings on the other side, because those moments of pain really cause us to seek something greater for ourselves and to not want to self-loathe or to be self-harming ourselves through, substance abuse or whatnot. But yeah, so you touched a little bit. Now you have more serenity, and you don't know exactly what your future holds, but it's better than what you had. And that brings my next question up. What part has both AA and beginnings treatment played in each of your roles of sobriety?
Me first?
Go ahead.
Beginnings Treatment Center and South Coast Counseling they helped me to achieve the physical sobriety that I needed. That was the main point. The 12 Steps program of Alcoholics Anonymous has actually helped me to maintain my sobriety and give me recovery. Beginnings, as I said, they got me sober, helped me to get sober, but my recovery lies within Alcoholics Anonymous, my sober network, my support of my sponsor family, and my friends, my fellowship.
Awesome. So it sounds like AA it's a part of your recovery journey and something you rely on completely.
Very much so.
Awesome.
Very much so.
And while you were in beginnings, we do therapy and 12 steps. So did doing any type of therapy work outside of AA, did that have a positive effect on you as well?
The one-on-ones definitely helped a lot. It helped me to deal a lot with my guilt and shame from my past actions and my past behaviors. It taught me how to deal with it in a healthy manner instead of beating myself up. Taught me to confront my problems in a healthy manner, which definitely was very helpful. The case manager and the home group, they gave me a sense of family of choice. So those are all aspects that definitely helped.
Nice. Awesome. Kat, what about you?
Yeah, that's the main thing that comes up for me is that like when I got here, my intent wasn't to stay in Orange County. I wanted to go back to Pasadena because that's what I was familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
So I got here, and then after I met all of you, all the staff, and I felt like I was at home. And I think that's something I had always looked for in my life, that feeling. And also in beginnings, the groups and the therapy, I never had that before either. Like different places I didn't get out of what beginnings puts in, what we do here. That was all very vital for me because I have a hard time talking to people. But having the one-on-one sessions with your case manager and therapist, that really helped me. And like you said, family of choice, like the groups, I felt like I was at home and had a family, and felt connected to all the staff. So that was huge for me.
Right. And you are definitely connected now.
Yeah.
I mean, you've totally just plugged in. Hey,
Hi, Camille.
Hi, Camille.
Camille says, hey, that's my best friend. Y'all look great. Thank you so much. But yeah, you plugged right in and became a part of, and it just happened for you with becoming a staff member and all that. So
I mean, I feel like, you know how they say, stick with the winners and win with the stickers? Well, I made a lot of good peer connections, but you never can tell Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
You never can tell where, people declines are at in their headspace. Because the sad thing is people just end up leaving and relapsing. So I just made it a point to get close to the staff.
Right.
And now my best friends are staff members.
Mm-hmm. Instead of people who might not be as
Serious
Yeah.
about the program, yeah.
right.
Yeah, I knew that, the staff that we have here, they had what I wanted, so that's who I was drawn to.
Right. And so where do you, just to finish off, where do you guys see yourself in 5 years?
That's, I really don't know. My hope is,
Your hope.
my hope is that I'll still be really strong in my program and connected and working here. That's my hope. But I really don't know. Like, the possibilities are endless when you're sober. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you would have asked me that when I was loaded, it would have been something very dark, probably dead. That's what I would say. But now,
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like my life's gonna be great.
That's awesome.
As Kat said, when you see yourself in 5 years, if I was still getting drunk and loaded, I would probably say in prison, unfortunately. For today, what I hope for in 5 years is that I'm happy, healthy, and still sober. I don't like to foreshadow that far. I just like to worry, right now I like to worry about today and maybe the next couple of days, and that's about it.
You have high hopes, though.
I do have very high hopes.
That's awesome. Yeah, because anything really is possible, and it might take time, but it's gonna happen, for all of us. So, yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and if any of you that are watching, you or a loved one is struggling with substance abuse, feel free to click on our Facebook page or go to our website at www.beginningstreatment.com and give us a call. We would love to help you. And just thanks again to these guys for being awesome guests.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.